Hello guys, how are you tonight? So I want to see what happens. I just adjusted my lamps, where we can keep the one from glaring maybe. I'm waiting on my new stand to show up. One of the stands have. So we're going to do this video without that big glaring light. And I turned off my overhead light because yesterday's video did not have the overhead light, and it had the one new lamp. Not a lamp, but a stand for my light. So I need one for my other big light. That's over. We're not going to talk about that anymore. So I just want to show you a couple fronts that I have completed. They still need beads on them. Okay. There's the lace on that one. A couple different kinds. This one has 3 different laces, or trim or whatever. And you saw the first one, which is the only one that is bound, but we got to get some embellishments made. So here we go. I'm going to try to get these on Etsy as I make them, but I wanted to do a few embellishments for them, but I wanted them to be simple. Now, I may have done these before in one way or another, but all I was thinking was, what can we do that's simple? Because we've got 6 books and limited time to get them on Etsy. So, this is my suggestion to anyone that's trying to get one made quickly, is to get ideas that are, I put my camera up higher, so now I can't see where my center is. All right, so I'm working off this stack of scraps I have over here. I tried to show you guys in a video, but my camera started going everywhere, so I deleted it. Sorry guys, but it's a mess. This is the only space I have on my 2 tables. And I would stitch some of these, but my machine needs to be changed out. The thread is red, but it's almost gone. So I wanted to be able to get this done tonight and have time to work on these. So you know how that goes. Now, you look at that and you think, oh, what's the big deal? Well, for one thing, I lined it up. That's a big deal, right? Let me make sure you guys can see. Okay, I'm holding it too high. Let me kind of adjust it a little bit. There we go. I just felt like something wasn't right all of a sudden. I could see better that way. Okay, so I just reached over here and grabbed this piece. And I thought, well, we can make a pocket. And I left this square. It's not perfectly straight, but it didn't matter to me because my point was to try to line these hearts up. And I feel like I did a pretty good job. So we're going to make another one of these, and then we're going to decorate this one because we don't want to do all every single step. Okay, so I wanted this plaid to be the main focus, not the inside, but it will obviously show when you open your book. So I'll try to make it as close. See, I cut my papers the same, it looks like, on most of these, and so I'm not even measuring. I just took the piece of paper I had, trying to get it as straight as possible. That's good enough. And then line this up and then bring this over. Now, obviously, you'd want to crease your papers better, but my point is to show you as many little things tonight that I make out of the scraps, and there'll be more as I go along. But this will give me a head start. Okay, and then I took my corner rounder, and I just rounded the top that flaps over the bottom, okay? Or that folds over the bottom. I don't know why I said flaps. Okay. All right, so everything is even enough that we can ink it and then decorate it. So we're not going to decorate this one, but I wanted to show you how I folded it. So I'm going to set it aside and work on it later. So this one is inked. and folded just like we did that one. Simple, right? Well, I took some 2x2. I took a 2x2 journaling card that came on one of the cut-aparts, and I put this, "Always kiss me goodnight." I just think that's so romantic, just to have that saying. And then I thought, well, it looks kind of flat, so I decided to add this pink right here under it. Now, I haven't glued it together, but when you do, this is what you end up with. Simple. You could add some muslin or cheesecloth or whatever else you wanted. If you wanted to triple layer it, you could do kind of a light pale pink under here or under there, or, you know, however you want to do it. But I'm just going to glue it down real fast. I'm not going to add dimension because the reason I'm not going to add dimension is because this is going to be inside the journal, and I want it to be as simple as possible. So here we go. Okay. Now, make sure you can see. Okay. I'm just lining these two up, the 2x2 and the 2 1/8, I believe, or 2 1/4. It's 2 1/4. And then you just kind of make it even as much as possible. I just cut the pink. I just held the card up and cut around it, so it's not even perfect, but you know, it doesn't really have to be because it's a junk journal. Now we're going to bring this folded card back over, and we're going to put it right here and glue it down there. Now, like I said, you could put some fabric or whatever you wanted underneath it. Cheesecloth, sari silk, you know, whatever you like. Now, we're going to glue this down. Now, we could add some big type, how do I want to say it, closure on it. But I decided, instead of doing that, let's just make it cute. Now, at first I cut out circles to glue together and to put on here to do as a flip, you know. But I changed my mind because I wanted to take hello, can't even talk. I wanted to take a paper clip and clip it right here. Now, you say, what's the big deal, right? Well, what was the big deal to me was I was going to tie some red or white or whatever color onto my paper clip, such as this. See? I hope you guys can see. Seems dark to me, but that's just me. If not, I'll have to redo it. We'll just make it work. Okay, so here we go. Now, just a suggestion, you can do it. I feel like there's not enough light. I'm gonna add a little bit of light over here. Let's see. I know that's right in the way. Let me put some paper or something. Well, that's not gonna work. How about we do this? I tell you, this light's a nightmare. But, you know, it was my beginning, the light I used before I started doing YouTube, and I love it so much because it's right over my work, and I'm not blind, but I feel like I am some days. So, we just glued these two down, the matte and the 2x2 card, and folded our paper, and I feel like, personally, how adorable is that? You know, you can use any color ribbon you want. I used the red. You could also put the ribbon right here. You could tie a bow. You could use twine. You know, whatever you want. You can make it longer. Like on this one, I decided to not cut it as short so that, you know, I could decide later what it needed to be. So, you can add a button. You can add, and we might just do this. I have these puffy hearts, all different sizes. definitely a Valentine thing I got at Hobby Lobby. So you can take whatever heart you want that you think will look good. And honestly, they're all a little wild. But this light one right here, or this one, would be good. Let's do this medium. Or it's next to the smallest. And of course, they put this in backwards. Or I put it back in backwards. I'm not sure which. I like this little polka dotted one too. But let's do this one. Okay. So you can depend on the sticky on the back, but not me. I would rather it get to whoever is going to end up with it in one piece. And they just don't put enough sticky on there. Do we want it up here? Do we want it straight? I don't know, because I didn't try. I think I'm going to put it right there. Kind of at an angle, because an angle covers up anything that's not straight. Now, do I like it there? Not a super lot, but it's there, and I'm fine with it. You can't really go wrong. Probably would have liked it better up here, but I had more space down here. Okay, so there's project number 1. Super fast, right? Okay, now we're going to go to project number 2, which will take a little bit longer. It's out of the same, well, I'm going to show you the one that I'm working on, then I'll show you how I'm going to show you how to fold it. This is the same print. Well, first of all, I love it, but I'm just going by what my scraps. I haven't cut anything. I didn't cut anything for these. I just folded them. So this one, I'm going to put lace on when we're done here showing you, and I'm going to put this little girl on the front somehow. Now this is just like a trifold with ledger paper. So this is not the same paper that I used to fold this one, and I will have to cut this one because of that. The hearts were running the wrong direction. So I don't really recommend, if you can just do it without cutting, that's even better. But like I said, because of the direction the hearts were running, I had to decide, do I want to do it or do I want to, So I'm going to mark right here, and I'm just going to do a real fast cut with the trimmer on top of everything, because there's not room for it anywhere else. So I'm going to follow my lines if I can find my lines. Hello, where are you? There you are. Okay, now I might not be completely in camera, but it won't be very long. Okay. All right, you can see me. I'm lining this line right here up. And there we go. Okay, a new scrap for the pile. Now, I would probably ink this or whatever if I wanted to, but I'm not. So I want the middle to be 3 inches. So I want the outside to be 2. So it should end up being, and I don't know this for sure, but it should be 2, 3, and 2. Okay? So I'm just going to kind of lay this here, since I want to make sure we get these done. And I'm just going to try to fold them side by side. And that is not a perfect science. I'll just tell you right now that I've done it before, and this is the lazy person that doesn't like to measure. No, the whole point of this was to be fast, and if you're doing a lot of measuring, see, I'm not even really worrying too much about it. I wished I could have lined that up, but neither way will it line up, so we're not going to worry about it, because we can put ribbon or something on there. Now let's see where 3 inches would be, which is going to be about, I want to make sure it's the same, because we're going to cut our paper that way. I use my fingernails for everything, if you haven't noticed. That's why they look like they've been worked to death. just because they have. So now you can decide, do you want this one in and that one over? That's how let me see which way I did it. Either way is correct because they should come out real close to the same. On this one, I did the left side over. So I'm trying to decide, do I want to do it the opposite for this one? No, well, it goes pretty far over there, but if I want to put a big decoration on here, this is probably, I like this. So I'm trying to decide. Well, let's just do it like this. We'll keep it the same for video purposes. Now, I took my paper, some of my very loved scraps from the ledger, the old vintage ledger, and I believe, I've got my ruler right here, I believe this is like 2.5 inches tall or 3 inches. Okay, it's right at 3 inches tall, okay? And I folded some paper over at 2 3/4. So we're going to do the same thing. Let's see. Let's do it like this. So it should be, we're not going to worry about the height until we get the width. Okay, so 2 3/4. So I'm just going to line it up at 2 3/4 right here, this edge. And let's see what ends up happening. It's so close that I'm going to do it, and then we can trim off any that we don't want. And so we want to do a couple more and see how it turns out. I'm not worrying about lining the ledgers up perfect, but it looks like they want to be. I'm just going to look at this, eyeball it, and then we can trim it to size. Okay. If one's shorter than the other, well, we'll trim the other one down. I don't know until we get done what we're going to end up with. And see, I'm not even worrying about it being perfectly straight. Once again, let's see. Let's do it this way. Now, see, this is going to be shorter. They do not have to be all the same size. I use tons of scraps and do them all different sizes. But the furthest out has to be correct. So let's put this one in the middle. And then we'll put this one inside the small one. And let's do one more. Well, no, we have enough. We just have enough for one more. So I want to make sure I at least get to make one more. Okay, so we know this is correct. We know it's 2 3/4 by 3. So we're going to go ahead and just cut it. Try to cut it as straight as you can. But if it's not, it's okay. Listen, I have had stuff come out so straight, and I've also had the opposite happen. So throwing these in my scrap box that Gail taught us all about. I don't have near as much as she does, but she's been doing this a lot longer than me. Okay, so this one goes in here, and this one, let's see if it's going to work. Let's look here. This is the one we're working on. Put this one back over here. All right. So yeah, it's going to be perfect, but we don't want this edge to show, and that's why on my other one I made something like this. But now I do want it to match my page here. So let's do something that's blue. Yeah, that'll work. That's close enough. And the hearts are running the right direction, so that's good. And you want it to be, you know, about 1/2 inch, so a total of 1 inch. So let's just fold it into 1/2 like this. And then you just trim it off with your scissors. Okay. Now, you know your height is 3 inches, so you don't want to cut it but slightly, just slightly over the 3 inches. Just barely. Okay, which is going to be right there. This particular paper right here, for some reason, when you fold it tight, I don't know what it is. It just likes to, I'm going to make sure I ink that. It shows the guts of the paper, and I think that's kind of weird, but that they would do it on such bright paper, you know. I know a lot of paper is white inside, but I wish they would not do that. Okay, so now we're going to take this, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with it. My sponge is falling apart. So I'm going to put this in here. Make sure your hearts are facing up. And, well, before that, we will staple this. I don't know if I have any staples in my gun. I hope so. I do. And then you would hide your staples if you want to. If you want the texture, you don't have to. If you're just going for design, I would make sure I inked everything. I did ink this, but because I'm going to show you how to put it down. We almost got it too tall, but it's just the right size. And so then you fold it over, okay? You've inked everything. You can put on whatever. This won't be what I put on here. We'll have to find something that looks better. No, not that. But you see what I'm saying. We're going to decorate the front. Here's a card we could decorate, which is pretty. So we'll trim the white off to decorate it. And then we're going to take our paper clip and we're going to do it like this when it's all said and done. Okay, because we did this one up and down like we did the other one. Look how cute. Now this is not all glued together. You can add whatever you want to this. This is just showing you what we're going to do here because we're quickly going to put this one together. And again, staple the paper. We're going to cover it up. We're going to glue this on basically. And I think instead of putting the glue on the paper, I'm going to put it right here over the staples. On the top and on the back. I'm working pretty quick, trying to show you that I can work fast if I have to. No, that's not why I'm doing it. Because, you know, in order to make a bunch in a short amount of time, you want to get with it. Pre-plan what you're going to do quickly. And just line this up where your paper is not sticking out, the top or the bottom. Make sure all your glue is off, anything you don't want it to glue to. Now, I would recommend that you clip this, you know, with the clip, if you've got time. Just, you know, because it would help. It'd help it to glue faster. Which, you know, now I'm holding it down and it's already adhered. But, and then you're going to glue, once you know where center is, you're going to glue your paper in your book with the same amount of space on top as you do on bottom. Okay? So, flip it over. Put your glue right here on your strip. That's why I didn't worry with inking this back part, because I knew you want to make sure you have enough ink on here to hold the heaviness from this paper. Okay. All right. We're getting there. Okay. So just line it up between your two folds. Center it and hold it. Now, I am going to hold this for a minute because it is heavier. Now, you can decorate any way you want. I thought we'd add some lace. And let me think. What do we want to put on the front of this? Oh, I know what we was going to put. We're going to put this little girl. We've got to ink her first. Okay. So that's down and ready to go. So let's go in this way and this way. So left in, right over. Okay, now I thought we'd add a little bit of lace on the outside right here. And whenever everything dries on the top, I will go back and add lace, and I'll show you where here in just a second. This is some old vintage lace, and I'm just going to put it right here, just barely long enough. Come on. I thought it was longer than that. Here, let's try a different piece. Maybe this other piece is the one I cut. I don't want it to be short, if you know what I mean. Okay. Making sure I have the right side of the lace. I usually just put one side down, put my thumb on it, and make sure it's straight, and then just stick it down. Believe me, I have taken lace off, because, you know, when it's crooked, it's just not as much fun. Now, when this underneath dries, I must have cut this one to fit that one, and we'll put it on once all the top stuff dries. Now, whenever you have too big of a hangover compared to the other side, when I say hangover, I don't mean from a drinking. I mean from your ribbon hanging over the side. I don't drink. Okay, anyway, so then you press it down. Just adds a little something, something. Now, we're going to ink her really quick. And no reason for she was just a piece of scrap. And I thought, I'm going to use her on that page. Because you can tell she's got a heart beside her. And why not? But I think instead of doing it here, I'm going to glue her over to the side more so our clip can go right here. Kind of got to think ahead. Now, the reason it seems like each of these projects are going so far long is because I'm showing you the demo. I'm showing you how to fold it. But if you just sat down and just started folding, like I did before this video, you would find that that's all you need to do. And it goes much faster. Whoops. Unless you get crazy and try to over-decorate it. I'm going to lay this flat for now so that the inside stuff can dry. Not worrying about it being perfect. Except I don't like the glue when it oozes out. Let me make sure. We just have a little bit right here. I gotta make sure I got this straight. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could add some ribbon right here, or you can add a heart, or you can, you know, do whatever. Now, here is, let me get over here. Here is our pin that we're going to put here at the top, and I'm going to want the ribbon to be up here. Now, obviously, I cut this too long because I wanted to make sure it was the right length for the video. I didn't want to have to go back and hunt for it in this huge stack of stuff that's all over my 2 tables. I have stuff all over the floor. Yes. So, let's get this on here straight. I double knotted it, and I just knot it wherever, and then I pull it up to the top. If you wanted to put a little dab of glue on there, you could. I'm not going to because I don't want it to look yucky. Sometimes it's easy to do and not have it show the glue, but because we're on the video, I don't want to take time to do that right now. Okay, now I like to bring the little knot around so it looks cuter. We'll pin it on, and then we'll decide. Let's see. Do you know what I just did? I just glued that on there backwards. Ha ha. So what we're going to do is we're going to decorate the other side. Do you guys ever do that? We'll just cover her up. Let me see if there's any more little girls over here. Yep, we got this little girl. She's probably too big. Let me see if I got another little girl. Or actually, we don't even have to have a little girl. We can find anything. That's what happens when you're going fast too, guys. And when you're not paying super close attention, that can happen. I like that. There's really a lot of cute little cards in this set. But I think I want to go with this one. Okay, we got to ink it. Whoops. We got to trim it before we ink it, because that's too much. I don't want it quite that big. And again, I'm just going to do it freehand. Sometimes I regret doing freehand. If you've got time, I recommend you use a trimmer. But if you're good at cutting straight, you know who can do what. So, yeah, I just didn't want the white on there. Of course, my glue is doing the volcano thing. Now, on this one, I probably would want to add a heart because there's that big blank space. Or, even better, I know it has text on the background, but I think that it would be good to put a word or a quote or something on there. And since I don't know what happened to my quotes book, I had one that had some cool quotes in it. I've just been too lazy to gather up. Just almost, my hair is hanging down on my face, and so now you get to see what it looks like to go from left to right on the opening. But we want to make sure we cover up all of that little image underneath. Because when I looked back down, I noticed a little edge of her sticking out. Now, on this one, I probably would have put some muslin or something under it because it's kind of, you know, just kind of lays there. But we've already spent enough time on this one. Okay, now let's put our little clip over here on this side, which I think would look better on the right side, just FYI. And let's cut it down though. I like it shorter than longer, but I left those others long because, you know, sometimes you just want to, I like them even too. Just so you know. There's that. Now let me look at these little hearts again. They're super shiny. So I don't think there's going to be one on here that I would want to use, because it's not the same pink anywhere. So instead, I have these little pink buttons. Nope, it's not the right pink. Let me get some of these others down in my little box. My little box of goodies. Here's a pink. Let's get a darker pink. Oh, we didn't do it. Let me find a lighter pink. Guess I had the darker to start with. And we can get a little tiny red. Well, I thought I had him. I'll tell you the trick. If you have to, wet the tip of your finger to get them out. You can. Okay, let's get a little white one too. Okay, that should be enough. Now, let me get back in camera. Looks like I ease down as I go here. Okay, so we'll add those. And normally, I'm going to use my little, look at all this stuff just piling up on top of me. It's like it works its way into the center. Then I have to clean it up all over again. Silly me. You could ink these so that the white edges don't show, but I'm not going to worry about that. They're so small that I would look like a crazy woman right now doing that. But I'll tell you, I probably have in some of the other videos. Now, these do need to be kind of inked over a little bit because they look kind of, I don't know, harsh. Let's put that one down there. And probably I would doodle a line around the outside of this, because not on the pink, but on the text. Because I feel like they're, it's like it just drops off. There's no end to it. I think it would look better if it had a little bit of an end to it. These things are tiny, tiny. So if I can keep hold of it, we're doing good. But this is supposed to be strong glue, so we should be all right. That one's straight on. I think I had another pink one here somewhere, but I think we're going to do the white. And if it doesn't look good, we'll just cover it up. Okay. All right. Now I feel like we need something up here. So let's look at our words. These words might be too big, depending on what word we come up with. Let's see what we've got. Let's look. Charming is too big. Heart. We have happy. We have you. I was just looking to see if we had love. Yeah, we do. Let's just use love. Can't go wrong with that, right? And I'm going to cut the edges off because I don't want it to have that big long, and I don't even care if it's straight, but I do care if it's inked. Okay? Because it's so white. And let's kind of ink over these a little bit. Kind of calm them down. And then we're going to glue the word love down. And this little one will be finished. And we're just going to put it, even if it goes over the heart, we want to make sure it's in the spot we like the way it looks. Right there. And of course, it's oozing glue. I decided I liked it better, more over to the side. Not because it was covering as much as it just looked kind of too far over. Okay, there you go. Now, I don't know if this is dry enough. I better have done it right this time. I'll be knocking myself in the head. Now we're going to go ahead and glue this on the inside so you can see. It is not going to hang over the paper, although it could. Let's just see which one we like. Do we want it like this is my first thought. But I'm looking at it now thinking, hey, that can cover without any problem. So that's what we're going to do. If I can get my glue to quit coming out everywhere. You have to keep it clean because if you don't, you're going to have it all over everything surrounding it. So let's flip it over. I knew this one would take us longer than any of them because it was more involved. But, yeah. Now we got to look to make sure we're putting it on here correct. So we're going to go this way. Let me get the lace on the right side. All right, make sure we're going straight. Well, now this one is just barely short. This was the very end of this lace. I mean, I have more of it, but on this particular row of lace, I like tiny little lace. Okay, so there you go. See, that just kind of adds a little bit to it. Now I'm going to leave it open because it is wet. I'm going to put the clip here so I don't lose it. And we're moving on. Okay, let me see what time it is. Oh, we're doing good. Okay, now, let me move these over out of my way. If I can find a spot to stack them. Isn't that terrible? Just pile them up there. Okay, the rest of them are going to be pretty simple and straightforward. You can do a basic envelope. But let's skip over that and do my favorite thing in the world. You just want to lay your template. You know, once I made a template of this, I kept it. And you just want to trace around it. And I've already done that to save time. Let me get my scissors. You could use your trimmer to trim around this, but I don't. It doesn't bother me if it's slightly off somewhere, like see right there. I just got it off my line. I just don't want the pencil to show, so I'm kind of cutting inside of the line. Go right there. And then all you would have to do is ink it. And if you wanted to use your corner rounder, I guess you could. Do I want it this way or do I want it this way? Either way is fine. It's just I really rounded that, so I'm going to need to round this a little bit more. Listen, there's lots of ways to hide your mistakes. I try not to make any, but we are human. And now the whole thing looks like it's off, so we'll just change the corners on all of them. Although I do like the original way I did it first. It looks like he's a hunchback right here. I don't know if you guys see that or not, but I do. So I'm going to try to fix it, which could be a mistake. You never know what you're going to end up with when you do something like this, but it's worth the chance if you don't like it to start with. That's better. Okay, so now we've got a lot more scraps. You would ink this with your ink pad, your distressed ink, or whatever color you choose. Now on this, I'm going to use, I had a word earlier that was longer. Maybe it's on the previous page. Let's see if it will fit first. Nope, it's too long. Well, we're on the hunt again. Let's see. Heartfelt is too long. Let's go over here. Loving is a good one, right? We can put love. These aren't all probably going to go in the same book, so I'm going to trim off the white ends. Now, we'll ink it a little bit, and you'll want to go back and ink your card, and then we're going to add some glue on the back after I get it on me. My hands are not the kind of hands that can work really fast without being clumsy, because I don't have a complete normal pinch on my fingers, and so I just kind of do the best I can. All right, there we go. And of course we have glue going everywhere. It's because I used a different glue. This glue's strong too though. Whoops, get back in there. I'm gonna have to wipe the tip of that off. I've kind of left it open for a minute, which is not smart. This is my very favorite fine line pen. It's got a pin end on it and I love it. I don't use it on everything, just little things. You know, if I can get away with not using it on something, I use the other. Okay, probably I should have trimmed this top down a little bit, but that's okay. That's just me being picky, you know. I had said earlier we needed to draw around this. I'm not going to worry about it right now, but this is another one that I would say we should draw around. Let's just do it real fast. And then we also need to ink it, of course. We just talked about that. Now, the reason I do this is when I feel like it's it's going out there and nowhere to stop, nowhere to take your eyes to completion. That's kind of how I look at it. And I do it twice so that if it's crooked, I know I repeat myself a lot, just so you know. I kind of like it with one, so we're going to go with one. I'm just going to put a little ziggy-zag on here, random places. You could put a heart. Let me see here. I am going to go a little bit around the word because it's kind of just up there. There we go. So I'm going to set this aside to be inked. Now, you can also, let me just show you this one real quick because it's simple. I just took a piece of paper like this, very same size. And now, I think I probably would bring this down some, and I would sew it, but my machine's not where it can be sewed right. Sewing can be done right now, and I would sew around the whole thing and make it a pocket. And you know, you can come up with any kind of tag. Here's a tag I made earlier. You can just stick that in. And in that case, you could keep this high. But if you do a lower tag, you know, you can still keep it high because it can go over it. This can come down lower. But again, I was just folding. I made this morning. Let me show it to you. And really, I don't like to do the double thing because then you have to find where it goes in whenever you're in your book. I've done it plenty of times, but I just, you know, I zigzagged. See, both sides are the same. I zigzagged, and then I went back and did a straight stitch, put on some white burlap, and then some cheesecloth, and then did the little red card that says "Hello, Love." And I doodled on it, and I doodled around a couple little hearts. And on the tag, I made it separate. I just stitched around the tag. Messy stitching, you know. Closed the hole in the back so that I could glue this button on with a little bit of string. So that's one embellishment that I've got done. You saw the little fruit jar. I haven't got it finished yet, but I will. Okay, so that's basically what I did with this one. It's really simple, but I probably would bring it down some and bring it down some here. Just FYI. One more thing before we quit. Just a basic envelope. And you know, there's all sizes, but I had to go by what my scrap was, so I went and dug through my little patterns and found one that fits. Let's see, which side do we want it? I think I want this. Let's do this on here. We haven't used it as much as we have some of the others. See, it won't go this way, so we have to go like this. Let's try to, let's see, let's put this on the little flap. Let's go like that. As much as we can. It's not going to let us go all the way. Okay. That's kind of hanging off, so I got to push it over a little. And get my pencil. And this is just regular copy paper, so you got to be kind of careful about using that. It's hard to trace around copy paper compared to cardstock. But I will tell you that I like doing envelopes in copy paper because it's so much easier to fold, and although it's not as strong. Now if I can see this, it looks kind of psychedelic to my eyes. Okay, and then you're just cutting it out. Now, I would recommend, if you like it perfectly scored correct, that you use a scoreboard. But due to time, I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna worry if it's scored perfect. I'm just folding it. And I do that a lot. I just eyeball it, and it seems to come out correct most of the time. If it's bad, I won't use it. If it's off a lot, you know. But if it's not noticeable to anybody but me, who thinks everything has to be hung straight, and it's kind of my problem, you know. My husband says, he says I'm a perfectionist when it comes to designing my house and stuff. And I'm like, well, I have to look at it, and I can't stand it if it's not straight. Okay, now this is not bad. You know, it doesn't look too bad. So I did get pencil on here a little bit, so let's kind of erase it. Look at this mess. Mess, mess, mess. Right there's some pencil. And right there. Alright, so this is what we've got. Okay? And a bunch of trash behind it. Let's kind of move that over. You want to fold the outsides in. The outsides of the envelope. The sides. And just line it up the best you can. You can always refold it if you need to. That's one of the things about using copy paper. It's easier to refold and it not be as noticeable. But on little things like this that aren't real time consuming, I don't worry about it. So then the main thing is that it's square. Like you can kind of tell already it's going to be. Now watch it not be. This particular one has a long flap. Now, it is square, but one thing I don't like about it is this little edge sticking out. So, let's think about it. Sometimes I look at it like even if I lose the envelope, it's okay. I'm going to try. Sometimes, you know, they can't handle the scoring over and over. I'm just going to fix it right there where it was sticking out at the top. Let's see if that will look better. I don't know. The paper is like, what are you doing? Yeah, and I had both sides like that, it looks like. So, sometimes I'll just take it from the middle. There we go. Let's see if that's better. Yeah, that's a little better. So, definitely have to have ink on this to be able to see where all the lines are. And then I would decorate the front, maybe with a cute heart or something. Let's see what we've got in these hearts that we punched out, or that I punched out several days ago. Let's see. Let's see what will look good with this maroon color. Let's see what this looks like. Nope, no blue in there. It doesn't look good with the blue. I know this is getting all, probably making your eyes cross, because it's pretty confusing. How about this red and white polka dot? And then we can find another one. We'll ink it really well, and then we can pop this one up just a little bit. This says February 14th. Yeah, because most of these have pink in them, or blue in them, I mean. So, it would just not look right with this one. So that's what we're going to do there. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go so that I can clean up this massive mess, so that when I have time tomorrow, I can come back and try to get started so I can complete more quickly. I have to go to therapy tomorrow, so I'll be dragging back in here tomorrow evening. And anyway, you could put the heart on the back as well. That's cute too, and let that be the front. You can't hardly tell because it's not inked. You know, it wants to blend. It wants to, probably makes the camera look crazy. Now, have you noticed with oxide ink in the vintage photo that sometimes it looks yellow. I don't get that. It's the different papers that makes a difference, I guess. I bought one of the sponges that Gail recommended, but everything I inked looked yellow. So, and to me, I'm going to hold this up and let you see, but to me, this looks yellow. And that's strange, because I've used it on everything and it doesn't look yellow on it. I know that it has yellow in it, but can you see that? Does that look brown or does it look yellow? It looks yellow in person, but then I can see the brown too. It's getting darker by the minute. Maybe it's just a temporary thing. I don't know. Anyway, so here's our little envelope, and we can put the little heart right here. I really think it's too big, but it looks cute, doesn't it? Maybe we'll just put it up here and let this kind of be the front, but we can decide. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate you giving me a thumbs up so YouTube knows what I'm doing. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope you'll come subscribe. Our next book, after these little TNs, we're going to do Alice in Wonderland. And I got the paper and printed it off tonight, and it's really cute. So, I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully, I'll be doing a flip through, but it'll only probably be of one of the books because I'm pretty much doing them all the same. For time reasons, and if I get any of them up, I'll tell you on the next video or when I plan to get them up. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.